Chapter 1 of A Christmas Carol. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Dramatis Personae.
Ebenezer Scrooge, read by Andy Minter.
Fred, read by M.B.
Bob Cratchit, read by David Lewis Richardson.
Gentleman, read by Martin Langer.
Jacob Marley, read by Algie Pug.
Ghost of Christmas Past, read by Tricia G.
Fan, read by Rashada.
Young Scrooge, read by Paul Andrews.
Schoolmaster, read by Peter Bishop.
Fezziwig, read by John Steigerwald.
Belle, read by Avaí.
Belle's Husband, read by Levi Throckmorton.
Ghost of Christmas Present, read by Barry Eads.
Mrs. Cratchit, read by Ariel Lipshaw.
Kristen Chappell reading for Martha Cratchit.
Belinda Cratchit, read by Amy Graymore.
Peter Cratchit, read by Paul Andrews.
Tiny Tim, read by Rashada.
Scrooge's Niece, read by Veronica Jenkins.
Niece's Sister, read by Liberty Stump.
Man 1, read by David Lawrence.
Man 2, read by Peter Bishop.
Man 3, read by Levi Throckmorton.
Man number 4, read by Chris Donnelly.
Man 5, read by Darren Vandermeide.
Charwoman, read by Kara Schallenberg.
The Role of Mrs. Dilber, read by Sandra G.
Old Joe, read by Tom Crawford.
Caroline, read by Amy Graymore.
Carolyn's Husband, read by Shay McNamara.
Boy, read by Sylvie Brown.
Girl, read by Kristen Chappell.
And narrated by Elizabeth Klett. Chapter 1. Marley's Ghost. Marley was dead, to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change, for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a door-nail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a door-nail. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin-nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade, but the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and my unhallowed hand shall not disturb it, or the country's done for. You will therefore permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was as dead as a door-nail. Scrooge knew that he was dead. Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole assign, his sole residuary legatee, his sole friend, and sole mourner. And even Scrooge was not so dreadfully cut up by the sad event, but that he was an excellent man of business on the very day of the funeral, and solemnized it with an undoubted bargain. The mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point I started from. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I am going to relate. If we were not perfectly convinced that Hamlet's father died before the play began, there would be nothing more remarkable in his taking a stroll at night in an easterly wind upon his own ramparts, than there would be in any other middle-aged gentleman rashly turning out after dark in a breezy spot, say St. Paul's churchyard, for instance, literally to astonish his son's weak mind. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood years afterwards above the warehouse door, Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to the business called Scrooge Scrooge, and sometimes Marley, but he answered to both names. It was all the same to him. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner, hard and as sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shrivelled his cheek,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?